to turn on.
Try that again. Test, test.
Test.
Yeah, mine is clearly on. Or I just talk very loud. Could be both. There you go, you're on. Try that again.
Test, test.
Absolutely. This is Team Tomball.
We're going to share. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Good evening. The workshop meeting of the Tomball ISD Board of Trustees is called to order as I shared at 5:30 p.m. Central. For the record, a quorum of the board is present. We are gathered here today in the John P. Neubauer Administration Building on Cherry Street in Tomball, Texas. As I shared, all trustees are in attendance tonight. Everyone looks fresh, rested, relaxed. It's been a little bit of a while, but good to see that we have a full body of 7. The main purpose of tonight's meeting is to receive reports from the administration and review the business agenda for the regular meeting. The regular meeting will take place tomorrow evening here at 5:30 p.m. Central. Any action regarding items on the business agenda will be taken at that regular meeting. This is a meeting of the Board of Trustees that is open to the public. However, it is not a meeting of the public. Public participation is limited to designated times during the meeting for citizen comment for those that have registered to speak in accordance with the board procedures. We do ask for your cooperation in ensuring that the meeting runs in an orderly manner. Board, we have no public comments on agenda items this evening, and so we do have a good slate of recognitions. So I'd like to now turn the floor over to our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Martha Salazar Zamora, to proceed with recognitions.
Thank you so much, President Dr. Pratt. Members of the board, all of you in the audience this evening, as you heard, we do have a number of recognitions. We're very excited to begin with our very first, which is Eyes First. Landon B. Reed, Harris County Precinct 3 Director of Community Outreach, will explain this recognition. Landon, welcome.
Is this on? All right, there we go. All right, Hugh and Caden, could y'all come to the floor, please? Stand in front of the trustees is kind of nerve-wracking, but I'm going to let y'all do that.
If you could stand there facing us, right there, gentlemen. Right here. Thank you.
So Commissioner Ramsey really wanted to show these outstanding students off to you guys, even though y'all know them very personally. This is what makes Tomball Tomball, and it's something we don't need to lose, and that is Tomball actually helping Tomball out, and that's even coming down to students thinking outside the box and helping them. So I've got this proclamation tonight that will explain a little bit of what they did, and then I'd like to turn it over to Caden and them just to tell you in their own words real quick after that. The Honorable Harris County Precinct 3 Commissioner Tom S. Ramsey, PE, hereby recognizes Eyes First for outstanding service to the community, and this was actually done for September 22nd, that was my bad, 2025, as Precinct 3 Commissioner of Harris County, Texas, and on behalf of the constituents of Harris County. It is our honor to recognize and congratulate Eyes First for outstanding service to our senior citizens of our community. Founded by Hugh and Caden, Eyes First has dedicated their efforts to improving access to eye care for seniors in Harris County and abroad with necessary supplies and education. Your remarkable contributions are truly making a positive impact in Harris County Precinct 3. Our constituents and I are proud of your work, and we look forward to even greater things in store for your future. Tom S. Ramsey. Now, Hugh, Caden, tell them how y'all thought about this whole idea real quick.
You can go over to the mic, please. They're all working now. It's great to have an engineer up here on the board.
So this idea first started at a recent trip I took to Fiji. It was a mission trip where I volunteered and helped give underprivileged people free eye care and free eye exams. And I wanted to do something for my community here, so Hugh and I packaged eye care kits that contained eye drops, an eye mask, stuff for dry eyes, a flyer that educates a senior about their dry eye health, and we went to senior centers, and I also distributed them at Fiji.
Yeah, so this idea started in the summer where where I and Caden shadowed at the clinic, the Eyes First, or Eye Specialist of Texas, and then we just felt like seniors they should have more of dry eye education. So we started this nonprofit to help raise the awareness about what dry eye is, to help seniors know more about the disease and how to prevent them.
Thank y'all. Just those little things like that. We had plenty come forward from our community centers, and when we got an email coming back from them, we thought, hey, these kids took it on their own to do this. It's something nice for the community, and we definitely heard it back from the reverberations. Thank y'all.
It wasn't mentioned, but we have a junior and a senior from Tomball Memorial. Hold on, Justin, I'm running slow. Justin, I'm sorry. What a way to kick off the night. Congratulations again to both of you. Next, we have a Special Olympics fundraising opportunity. Dr. Michael Webb, our Chief Academic Officer, will share this next item.
That's right. Carrie Williams and your team, could you come forward, please?
Woo! This is our incredible special ed team and friends.
Dr. Pratt, Dr. Zamora, members of the board and cabinet, Tomball ISD Special Education has been known for its long history of academic achievement, its ability to impact and enhance independence for students with disabilities, and its unique way of ensuring all students in special education have a way to access the general education curriculum. This team, led by Carrie Williams, has had a long history with Special Education Olympics. However, in October, Laura Bell and Stephanie Tempest, our adapted PE teachers, helped organize a very unique event with Special Olympics in collaboration with the Rabba Kistner Foundation. Rabba Kistner is an industry leader among engineering consulting firms, specializing in addressing the key risks areas of management services that address the complete life cycle of capital investments. So this unique event in collaboration with the foundation was an annual clay shooting event in which over 100 participants were present, including Mr. Sportsman himself, Kevin Williams, Dr. Flores, Dr. Wright, many Tomball families, and myself. I've still got the sore shoulder to prove it. This event was well received, and we would like to thank Mr. Scott Blanks from the foundation for your generous gift of $11,000 that will benefit Special Olympics in Tomball ISD. Thank you so much. I also failed to mention Sarah Cato was instrumental in this event, our program specialist in special education.
Our next recognition is about our Senate Bill 10 donations for the 10 Commandments posters that have been donated. We have a number of individuals, all friends of the district. We're very glad to have Judge Carduba, the Harris County Justice of the Peace, Mrs. Thomas, and of course, Gary Boudreau, all friends of the district. And I'm not sure who, I believe, Judge, will you be speaking? Ms. Thomas, please, whoever would like to come up and say a few words. If I've left anybody off my list, please just feel free to add.
Yes, right there.
Go ahead.
You can tell we're just family. This is Elsa Schneider. She is the Harris County Moms for America group leader. She's also very instrumental in this, so I wanted to bring her forward. This all began at a meeting, and our state rep was discussing this Senate Bill 10, and the mayor of Tomball tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Are you going to do it?" And I looked at her and said, "Yes, ma'am. We're going to get it done." So here we are. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you to this board. I want to say thank you to Tomball ISD. You all welcomed us with the In God We Trust posters. I utilized you and your acceptance and the warmth and the welcome that you gave us across the state, where we helped to place it in many other school districts and worked with many other organizations to place In God We Trust posters across the state of Texas. You all were the model that I prayed each and every other individual encountered when they placed their poster. So I want to say thank you. Now getting on to where we are today. After the mayor asked me to do this, we again went to another meeting, and I said, the fundraising has begun. And within 30 seconds of me stopping and saying, we need money, Judge Cordoba stood up and said, I'm going to do it. Of course, I had to go like this, and I put the meeting on hold. I said, you all stop just a moment, and we ran over and we hugged. She is an amazing woman. And of course, Gary, he stood up also to purchase them for the new school that hasn't been built yet, but they already have posters. So we just wanted to take this moment to say thank you in a way that my heart can't say, but I'm just going to read this just very carefully. Larissa Cordoba started her judicial career right here in the city of Tomball in 2006, being appointed as the first female municipal judge in Tomball's history. She stayed here in Tomball until her election in Harris County Precinct for Justice of the Peace in 2024. She prides herself as elevating the JP experience to a technology-friendly, efficient court that runs like a corporation. She is often asked why she wanted to be judge, and always answers with, I wanted to make a difference in children's lives. Helping each child is her greatest passion, and she has implemented numerous programs that reach kids where they are today and strives to make them better tomorrow. She incorporates schools, parents, personal responsibility of the students to help them get back on track. She has 4 teenagers of her own, a senior, a junior, a sophomore, and a 7th grader. She has been married to her husband, Matt, for 23 years and continues to live not more than 10 minutes from Tomball. And then again, we have Mr. Gary. Everyone knows Mr. Gary. He is a precinct chair. He is, I don't want to say, I will say it. It's great sometimes to have gray hair because he mentors, he has wise counsel, and he is one of the staunchest defenders of Tomball ISD. So I want to present some dear friends of mine, and I want to say thank you for donating the funds to, again, promote the Ten Commandments, which we spent much time in Austin, realizing that this was the foundation of citizenship, even when I was in school, and we won't talk about how long that was. But having this here, utilizing it as a basis for citizenship for the curriculum that the legislators of Texas have deemed appropriate. Again, the biggest message I have for tonight is thank you, beyond words. And I'd like to present the poster. With the other 1,700 are in someone's office, so just let us know when you need help to get those out.
Moving on to our very exciting student recognitions. The first is the Tomball Memorial High School Girls Water Polo Team. Yay! I love that energy. In and out of the water. That's awesome. Our athletic director, Chris Scott, will begin with the introductions. Mr. Scott.
Thank you, President Pratt, Dr. Zamora, members of the board and cabinet. It's my pleasure to honor 3 teams from Tomball ISD tonight, and I'm going to have the coaches introduce them and talk more about those accolades of their season and those individual honors they've earned. But before they come up to do that, what they're not going to tell you is that all 3 of these coaches were voted as the Coach of the Year in their district. And that's something that they're probably not going to say about themselves, but I'm very proud of them. I want to thank them for their efforts this year. They're not only doing outstanding things in the pool and on the court, but they're great, raising great human beings, which we're proud of in our community. So with that, we'll get started with Tomball Memorial.
Thank you, Dr. Salazar Zamora and Tomball ISD board members and trustees for recognizing Tomball Memorial Girls Varsity Water Polo this evening. Completing our 4th year as a UIL sport in Texas has been exciting, as interest in our sport has continued to grow in both the Tomball and the surrounding areas. I'm fortunate to hear more and more conversations in the classroom and hallways from students who have attended games and who can confirm that, no, we do not have horses in the water. What they do say is that water polo looks hard, And it is. It takes a special type of athlete to play and to excel at the sport. These athletes not only have to be good at swimming, but also wrestling, softball, soccer, volleyball. I know many of you may be confused by that list of sports, but water polo players must be capable of grappling for position or for a ball, of throwing a long pass or a powerful shot, of treading water whenever they're not swimming. Their legs are constantly in motion, never allowed to touch the bottom of the pool, of creating offensive and defensive screens, and of setting a quick pass for a teammate to push into the goal. Water polo is a mix of all the best elements of many other sports, including the most important one, teamwork. And teamwork is where these girls really shined this year. This season, we had depth to our roster that we were missing in the past. No longer did it feel like we only had 3 or 4 girls that we could depend on. When you look at our stats for this year, the teamwork is apparent. In just 24 games, we scored 293 goals, with over 70% of our girls scoring more than 10 goals apiece. We had 147 assists, with over 70% of our team providing more than 10 each. We had 366 steals, again, with over 70% of our girls having 10 or more steals to their name. And these numbers only happen when players truly work together. They teach, correct, and encourage one another. These ladies understand the principle of the weakest link, and they work diligently to ensure that all our links are strong and capable. Their trust and confidence in one another undoubtedly helped this team become 4-time district champions, area champions, and Region 1 semifinalists. Even with new teams added to our district, our ladies proved their dominance with an undefeated district season. Additionally, this year, our team claimed the district most valuable player, Kaylee Peacock, and the district defensive player of the year, Cece Olivo. 8 members who made all district teams, and each and every one of our girls is a member of the all district academic team, every single one. Thank you. These ladies exemplify the student and student athlete. We're thankful for the support of Tomball ISD, especially Mr. Chris Scott, Coach Carey, and Ms. Collier for encouraging us and helping us to grow. And we are thankful for our Wildcat parents and families who help motivate and support these girls in all that they do. Thank you to my amazing assistant coach, Alicia Vetter, who continues to bring a sense of levity when things get too heavy. And finally, I want to thank these athletes, our seniors especially, for making each other stronger, for playing a clean game at a high level, and for thriving under such incredibly physical conditions. Like many of you, I can't wait for next season.
Congratulations again, girls, and thank you to our coach. Next, we have the Tomball High School boys water polo.
Yes. Where's my assistant coaches? Y'all can come up too as well. All right. Thank you, Dr. Zamora and school board members for having us this evening. I want to have a special thank you to Dr. McKinney, Mr. Scott, Coach Handel, Coach Rosick, Coach Smallwood, and also my team rep mom, Robin Hicks, for all their support during this amazing season. And of course, thank you to all the wonderful parents. I couldn't do this without them. This season has been especially meaningful to me. I have had the privilege to watch 6 of these talented athletes grow from silly freshman boys who just wanted to try out water polo for the first time into smart, dedicated young men whose passion for the sport shines every day at practice and during the games. This year was truly memorable for us. We went undefeated in districts, 10-0, and made many great memories in our preseason tournaments. The boys scored an incredible 332 goals throughout the season, combined with all of them. But honestly, it could have been a lot more. But they showed grace and sportsmanship along the way. In addition to our undefeated season, several of our players received district superlative awards. Connor Davis earned both MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Homer Pillsbury was named Goalie of the Year. Connor, Homer, and then Rebin Tohidi were made first team. Charlie Cable, Jacob Folks, and Dylan Westall made second team. Mason Straight and Evan Muckler received honorable mentions. Now the list could go on and on of what these kids have done throughout the season, but really every one of these players put their heart and soul into the program, and they deserve the recognition they are receiving tonight. Once again, these boys are truly one of a kind, and it's been a joy watching them grow in the sport they love. And thank you again for the acknowledgement for this evening. Thank you.
Congratulations again to all of the young men on the water polo team, and thank you to our coaches. Next, we have Tomball High School tennis. Very excited to hear about all of our tennis athletes. We're so glad you're all here tonight. Coach, take it away.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. Good evening. I would like to start by thanking our district led by Superintendent Dr. Salazar Zamora and all our board members. Thank you to our athletic director, Chris Scott, campus coordinator, Coach Handel, Principal Dr. McKinney, and all our assistant principals for their continued support. Thank you also to our very proud parents. None of this would be possible without you. Tonight, I get to tell you all about a group of exceptional student athletes who have truly defined dedication and teamwork. This fall, your Tomball tennis team gave us a season for the books. Through hours of practice and tough matches, they achieved the pinnacle of district play, which is back-to-back undefeated district champions. Their success, however, did not stop there. They continued their winning streak deep into the playoffs, demonstrating grit and determination to earn the title of regional quarterfinalist. This is a remarkable feat that speaks volumes about their talent and their commitment to one another and to the tennis program. They finished with a fall season record of 12-1. What makes this team's success even more impressive is that these student athletes are not only successful on the court, they're leaders across our campus. Each member of this team embodies the definition of a student athlete. They consistently maintain a strong academic performance. In the first 9 weeks, they achieved a 100% passing rate and 90% AV honor roll. They also are actively involved in other extracurricular activities such as National Honor Society, debate, band, student council, engineering club, and Spanish Honor Society. To this amazing team, thank you for representing Tomball High School with such integrity, sportsmanship, and success. You have set a high bar for future teams and shown everyone what is possible with focus and teamwork. I am so very proud of your accomplishments, and I'm looking forward to what we will accomplish starting January from the individual season. Now, I also want to recognize our group of seniors. This year is the largest senior class that I've had the privilege of having, and right now tonight we have, I believe, 8 of our seniors. So I just want to say thank you for this amazing 4 years and for everything you've done for the team. There's also a group that I want to recognize, which is the girls. Our girls, they all receive all-district first team in their respective singles or doubles lines, as well as we have our MVP of the district, which is Sophie Berthelot, for the 2nd year in a row. And Alejandra Martinez, she was recognized with the MVP, Freshman of the Year for the district. So I definitely want to recognize these student athletes. Congratulations again, undefeated district champs and regional quarterfinalists. We thank you very much for this recognition tonight.
We had like only one, 12, 2, year, I think they tried to do like 50. Well, it did, but it's like the ones that were trying to put together was only one of them was supposed to be on the board. So put it together. We joked. I totally do.
Congratulations again to all of our outstanding tennis athletes and our coaches. I would like to move on to reports for this evening. If you are a guest, this is usually the time that we allow you to leave if you would like. Gary, don't run out the door that fast. You are always welcome to stay. We love to have guests in our meetings, but we understand. Give you just a few minutes to skedaddle. Okay, moving on to this evening, under reports, the first report we have for the evening is the annual enrollment report. Mr. Mark White, our Assistant Superintendent of Accountability, will present our annual enrollment report. Mr. White.
Thank you, President Pratt, Dr. Salazar Zamora, and board members. Following the last Friday of October, which is known as Snapshot Day, we traditionally will put together a report for you to let you know where our numbers fall this school year and how that looked in a longitudinal sense as well. And for the last few years, we've had a little bit of a focus. 2 years ago, we looked at Tomball's growing, Tomball's changing, what that looked inside of our different populations and programs. Last year, we took some time to look at what development looks like in Tomball. So as parcels of our district were coming under development, what that looked like in terms of infilling, the scope and the pace of development. And this year, I think we're going to see a theme related to the recent housing slump, and that is what does growth look like at a slower rate. So I'll ask you just to keep your eyes on that a little bit, and this will tie back into some more detailed demographic reports, which will come to you later this week. As we are looking at our numbers this year, and these may have gone up or down just a little bit as we're cleaning up some of that data, but we looked at our snapshot numbers and came in at about 23,256 students. On the chart you see there, the blue lines are actually the number of students. The red line is our growth rate, and so that is of course the rate of change year over year. And right now we're sitting at about a 1.8% rate of growth, which is actually the lowest growth rate in the 12 years that you see on the bar. Several of the graphs that we'll see after that, we're going to be looking at particular populations, grade level. Growth is still happening, Tomball's still growing, but growth is not even when we look at the parts of our school district, the different campuses, and the different grade levels. And so we're going to visit some of those particulars in the next few charts. I did want to start that off. This was just from November the 2nd in the Chronicle, and that was sharing about the housing slump, and it's one of the worst slumps that the Houston area has been in the last 20 years. And so that is going to be reflected inside of not only our school district's data, but all of the Houston area school districts as well. We are starting to collect some data from our colleagues in surrounding districts. We won't have official numbers until fall PEMS is finalized, but we are getting, just like we're presenting our preliminary numbers, we're starting to collect some preliminary numbers from our neighbors, which we will be able to share with you guys shortly. When we look at our grade level distribution, this is how many students are in each grade level this year and how they kind of compare next to each other. We do see that we have a little bit of a pyramid going on. We're used to our early childhood and our pre-Ks. Those are optional grade levels, being a little bit smaller. However, if you'll notice that we have our kindergarten, first, second, and third, and fourth going into a little bit of a pyramid shape there, which is letting us know that of course, these are proportional populations to each other, that we are seeing a little bit of a downturn, not in real numbers, but in proportion. The district's still growing, but proportionally, we're bringing in less of students when we traditionally bring them in kindergarten. And we'll look at when we first see our kids. Most kids show up in kindergarten, right? If it's not kindergarten, it's either pre-K or first grade. Kindergarten is actually an optional grade as well. But we are starting to see that proportionally we do have less kids in our younger grade levels. For first-time enrollments, and we do have some longitudinal data here, we see that for kindergarten, and I'll point down to that one, as we've looked from 2021, that we've just had that's where we see a little bit less kids showing up. Now, first, this is a little bit of a mask for kindergarten because you'll notice that the pre-K numbers go up a little bit. So if we see you in pre-K, then kindergarten is not the first time we see you. So those numbers do play off of each other a little bit. So we do have some of our families just showing up earlier in pre-K, and that's why kindergarten is not the first time that we see them. We do have students enrolling for the first time in Tomball at all of our grade levels, but our big grade that we first see a student is going to be in kindergarten. We do see that that number has decreased a little bit, although we still have growth over time. When we look at our campuses out there and how they compare to each other, this is just a distribution map so that we can proportionally see where our kids are. We have about a little less than a third of our kids clustered in the 4 grade levels at our 2 comprehensive high schools. And we got about a third of our kids in this middle zone here, mostly made up of intermediates and junior high schools. However, it does have some of our larger elementary schools. And then we have about a third of our kids, and mostly inside of our elementary schools, but we do have a few of our secondary schools in this category as well. We'll take a peek. When we talked about growth not happening at the same rate everywhere, we know that that's true. As different school zones have new development, for example, we know that that generates new enrollment. And as we have kind of settled families, as the kids are matriculating through our system, we know that they're coming out of the elementary schools, and we may have a bubble of them in their intermediate schools, and then later on in the high schools. And then we have a little bit of a demographic slowdown as we get into an empty nester grandparent phase. Some of that will come out in some more detailed demographic reports. On the demographic level, when we look at our students by ethnicity, we have had a slight downturn in real number enrollments among white students over the last 3 years. The other ethnic categories are still increasing. On the Hispanic category, where we were having these kind of big increases, which was driving a lot of our growth in the last few years, you'll notice that we just had a little increase here. It's still helping to drive a lot of our growth in the district. However, that has, when we look at the other categories here, this is just a market slowdown over last year and the prior years in that particular rate of growth for that category. It is our second largest ethnic group in the district, so it does make a big difference. And that's coupled with a shrinking enrollment in our largest ethnic group. Excuse me, I went the wrong way. When we look at our students in terms of socioeconomic status, these are the major demographic points that we look at. We were looking at ethnicity, economically disadvantaged, et cetera. So I'm going to walk through those. We do see a little bit of a kind of leveling off. We had a big increase after the pandemic. Some of that was driven by eligibilities for economically disadvantaged under ESSER. However, as that has kind of panned off over the last few years, there's a few different, when we look at our kids who actually qualified for free and reduced lunch, of that number of economically disadvantaged kids, you'll notice that that bar did increase a little bit. However, the number trailed down just a little bit as well, the overall number, but the proportion of those kids qualifying for free and reduced lunch did increase. Students with disabilities, that number, it continues to increase. We're going to look at a few numbers related to that. We do have our Section 504 students, and then the green line are students who fall under IDEA or traditional special education. We do know that the movement of dyslexia over the last few years from a 504 or a possible 504 category over into special education attributes most of that growth in this particular area. However, not all of that growth. That number is still growing much faster than the overall growth numbers that we just showed you guys. And so we do know that among our population that we do have some additional growing challenges when it comes to meeting their needs in the special education classrooms and also in 504. When we look at our students with disabilities a little more closely, of course, all students with disabilities have at least one disability. However, students may have multiple disabilities. And so our number of disabled students that we have in the green, the blue line is our number of disabled students. It's going to be on top of the green, which is one disability. On top of that number, we're also going to have students who have a second in the purple or a third disability. And so it's not just the number of students with disabilities, but we also have to cope with the number of disabilities, which far outnumbers the broad number of students. So this adds to the complexity of the programming when it comes to scheduling, staffing, placing, grouping students together to best serve their needs. And so this is something that we'll often hear when we're actually determining program placement is, well, where are these kids and how do we meet the needs of not just disabled kids, but kids with various disabilities, since all of their needs have to be met. I do have a red line down here, which is not that it's a second disability, but it's a second program that students with disabilities could be in, and that is if they are also emerging bilingual students. And so we do have duly identified students here as well, which couple into another type of classroom or combination certification for staff members. On that topic of emerging bilinguals, we still have a growing number of students who have a language other than English spoken at home. We're up to about 27% of our students in that case, over 6,000 students in particular, speaking about 71 different languages in their homes. The two largest languages which account for more than 90% of these students are Spanish, followed by Vietnamese. Of those emerging bilingual students, we do have students divided into two of our major programs, and that is bilingual education. Of course, we have our one-way programs and our two-way programs, which serve students up through the intermediate school. And then we have our ESL programs, which serve non-Spanish speaking students at all grade levels and students with Spanish home language after intermediate school. And then we have, I went ahead and included on the blue bar down here the number of immigrant students. Not all immigrant students are emerging bilingual. For example, we have students who come to us from Australia or Ireland. They may be immigrant students, they were never, but they're English speaking, or we may have students from anywhere who, when we test them, are not emerging bilinguals, they are bilinguals. They are already testing, they're fine with their English, they're not limited English speakers. Likewise, the converse of that is also true. Not all EB students are immigrant students, and so I do include that bar just as a reference point so that we can keep that in mind. We did have our presentation in our last meeting, I believe, over the differences with migrant, immigrant, and bilingual education. As we move to our final charts, I know that this gets into small font size for you, but I do like to take you guys through your build-out plan over the last 25 years, where we've been, and what it looks like when we're looking at the average size of our campuses. As schools first opened their inaugural year, I have in red, and so we do know that as we've been kind of spacing these openings and doing some reconfigurations, that we've been able to maintain an average campus size of 1,000 kids, more or less, over the last few years. I have where we are right now. Next year, as we open up a rather big school or a new high school, we see where we'll go down at our current rate of growth at 1.8%. I don't know what that's really going to look like next year or the following year, but even at that current rate of growth, we're still adding about 1,000 kids a year. So we should be maintaining that. Right now we don't have another school planned to open after we're done with our next year opening and our reconfiguration with Creekside Park Junior High School. As we have plans in the future, we'll of course revisit with the demographic information and try to figure out where we are. Those decisions, of course, will be made when a little bit more microscopically when we're looking at where inside of the district growth is happening and what types of needs we need to meet. And do we have any questions concerning this particular data? All right, then. Thank you very
so
much.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I'm
Going
sorry.
back to the socioeconomic status chart, what is the blue, the other ecosystems?
So the other ones, we do have, the state does, during our enrollment process, families do have a chance to share their economic data with us. What's their family income? How many people are in the household? That's a different process from filling out the free and reduced lunch application. And so when we do have economic data that the family shared with us, it's possible for us to call them economically disadvantaged for accountability purposes and for PEMS purposes. However, the family has to choose to fill out the free and reduced lunch form. Once they do that, that code becomes their code if they qualify for it. That's processed but through our child nutrition department. And then any students left over who met the survey definition but not the application definition turn into the blue students.
Okay. So they would qualify for free and reduced lunch, they're just not utilizing it, basically?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other? Sorry. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate you, Mark. Next, our next report is the 2026-27 junior and high school course selection catalog information. Dr. Michael Webb, our Chief Academic Officer, will lead us in this discussion. Dr. Webb.
All right. President Pratt, Dr. Zamora, members of the board and cabinet, I'm pleased to bring to you this evening our course proposals for junior and high school for the school year 26-27. This process is led by Dr. Mindy Munoz and the Secondary Advisory Committee. This committee has gone through a process which is bringing to you this evening 17 new courses and 3 courses that are proposed to be removed from our catalog. That will include 6 courses in the area of CTE, 4 in languages other than English, 5 for fine arts, and 2 in the area of science. Our proposals lead off at the junior high level with Mariachi 1 and Mariachi 2. This proposal helps to build upon a very successful program of mariachi at the high school level at Tomball High School. Our instructor for mariachi at Tomball High will be able to serve sections of Mariachi 1 and Mariachi 2 at the junior high level to help develop this beginner ensemble. There will be no staffing impact. Our leading cohort of two-way dual language will be entering the 7th grade next year. We will also have a large cohort of one-way dual language entering the 7th grade next year. Both of these groups of students, about 200 in total, are already eligible for and have exceeded the rigor that would be expected in a Spanish 1 course. So offering Spanish 2 at the junior high level would help to continue exposure, particularly for those 200 students that are biliterate at the end of their 6th grade year. Also at the junior high level, currently we are offering touch data systems and a career and college course. Both of these are half credit courses offered for 1 semester apiece. Touch data systems is becoming a course that's no longer valued as it has been in the past. We have students in the 3rd grade that are typing our extended constructed responses. So to have a course in the 7th grade to help enhance keyboarding skills is a little bit behind the curve. So this 1-year course, General Employability Skills, will take many of the TEKs that were taught in college and career, and then we'll expand career exposure at the 7th grade level at junior high school. And then, of course, the courses that would be removed in replace of the 1-year general employability course would be touch systems, data entry, and college and career exploration. Are there any questions on the junior high course catalog?
Hey, Michael, I got a couple.
Mr. McStraven.
So going back to Spanish 2, what's the distribution of those 200 students? Will we be able to make those courses at each of our junior highs, potentially?
Yes. So the proposal is that we would offer this at all 4 junior highs. With this offering, right now there are many different combinations in which we could provide Spanish 2. We would want to provide it in a way that would make. Right now, the preferred option would be to offer Spanish 2 at the 8th grade level, and that would still allow students to not have to make a choice between Spanish 2 or fine arts at the 7th grade level. Based on demand, though, we could expand this course over 2 years. It's going to be interesting to see with course selection the demand for Spanish 2 from our dual language families. But I guess the short answer, it could be offered at 7th grade or 8th grade based on the demand.
And we think the distribution, though, from school to school, probably will have somewhat of an even distribution?
I believe so, because this is not just two-way dual language, this is one-way dual language as well, that will all be feeding into Willowwood Junior High.
Second question deals with the general employability skills course that you're talking about. So this is an elective?
No, in junior high, we require CTE as a course.
Okay.
To give a general overview of careers and career clusters in the future.
Okay, so this will be a required course, and it's 1 credit, so it's 2 semester?
Credit, yes.
Okay.
What's the GPA ramification for taking Spanish 2 in 8th grade?
There is no ramification on GPA. Any course taken at junior high is just accredited for the credit, not the GPA weight. You just get the credit, you wouldn't get the points.
It's pass-fail.
It's pass-fail.
Okay. So it seems like it's a bit of an advantage afforded to this smaller cohort of students compared to other students who are taking Spanish 2 in high school. It's a difficult course, and they have to take the grade for it. So just thinking on that, I don't know what it's a competitive advantage perhaps for that cohort. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Well, in most cases, a student that selects Spanish 2 will also have completed 5 years of dual language consecutively. So it's not just enrolling in Spanish 2, it's also completing dual language from kindergarten through grade 6.
And then the typing, I know my current high schooler took the typing class in junior high, and she needed the typing skills. Have we beefed up actual QWERTY keyboard skills in elementary school, or are we just having the kids learn by pecking until they get faster at pecking?
Keyboarding is now a part of the technology TEKS that we're introducing through our platforms as early as kindergarten and 1st grade.
That's good to hear. I did not know that. Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Webb, on the general employability skills course, I'm trying to connect to the good work that our counseling team does. More and more of the decisions for pathways are needing to be made well before high school. Can you help me with how this course would enable them to have decision or exposure earlier to then benefit them as they pick the pathways, and ultimately, when they roll in as a freshman, they've got a good start on their portfolio?
As a result of Strategic Plan 2030, we are focusing on this course for virtual reality curriculum. I believe that virtual reality will help enhance exposure to CTE careers and clusters that they might not otherwise have had the opportunity to do. I think bringing the technology into this course at the 7th grade level will allow them to visualize and actually see work and see learning through work.
I don't know that I had an appreciation that it was the virtual part of this. I must have missed that. How does that necessarily get to resume writing, cover letters, the basics of employment? Can you connect me on that?
Yeah, so our career character education platform focuses on those job skills, those durable skills. So how well equipped are you to engage in an interview? How well are you presenting yourself through the written form of through a resume? And all of the soft skills that that employers are looking for also is directly taught through this general employability skills course.
I like that part. What curriculum are we going to be utilizing? Is this something we develop internal?
Yes, this will be consistent with all of our CTE courses in which we will develop the unit guides and the scope and sequence, but this is a state-approved course with TEKS that we'll be following, but
Okay.
we will develop the curriculum.
Got it. Thank you.
Any additional questions, comments, or thoughts?
I do. Mariachi, when are we going to start playing in UIL? When are we going to put a team forward and compete?
Actually, we did have some winners recently at a competition, our very first, and we hope to see them compete at UIL the coming year.
So next year, we could field a
I
UIL
believe
competitive
so.
team.
I believe so.
Okay.
But we have already won our very first award. Individual, it was very exciting. An individual award, yes, sir. And I believe we will, in the springtime, get to hear them perform. I'd like to have them come up here.
Sorry,
Oh, they're competing this year, at the end, in the springtime. Okay, for the first time. Thank you for that, Paulette.
Okay, so that's an exceeding expectations.
Well, there you go, see?
As we evaluate our superintendent, we'll take that into account.
Let's add that too. That'll minimize.
on
Time spent
mariachi as
that
well, did it said no additional staffing required. How are we adding mariachi without staff
Well, we already have the teacher, the current teacher that we have.
in junior high?
Oh,
No, our current high school teacher would be able to fulfill sections at the junior high and the high school.
Okay.
and we do that quite often with fine arts. They have to be pretty
Yeah.
flexible.
Yeah, that's the
thankfully.
same with orchestra.
Correct.
Is there a limited number of spots for junior high mariachi? My thinking is I don't want it to pull too much from band and orchestra and choir. And do we have?
I mean, it depends on interest. We haven't had, we've had a lot of interest, but it hasn't pulled on any other programs. Actually, we've had some that had left a program that came to mariachi that love it. Everyone finds their place, their home.
With mariachi, though, down at the junior high level, do you still have to be co-enrolled in a band?
That I do not know. Paulette, no.
Okay. Now,
Right when they're in the audience.
are we doing co-enrollment, though, at the high school level for mariachi? Or is mariachi stand on its own?
At the high school, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
They choose.
Correct.
Okay, but it's not a requirement to be co-enrolled in either orchestra or
No.
band at the high school level, and the same will be true with these courses.
Really starting off, we just wanted any student that was interested, and it's been exceptional to see it grow. But I think that goes back to leadership. We have the right teacher, and the kids love him, and he loves the kids, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. And they will be competing at UIL this year. See? Exceeding expectations. Didn't even know it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Dr. Webb.
Oh, got one more.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
The high schools.
Moving on.
Moving on to the high school. So to begin, the high school course proposal is a combination proposal. These are two courses to serve the same intent. So we have about 300 students currently enrolled in plant and floral science. This course proposal is an attempt to diversify our course offerings and offer more courses on the plant side of plant and floral science. So turf and grass management is a level 2 course. Our current teachers will be able to teach this course, and it is for a half credit. The second part of this combination proposal is landscape design and maintenance, also an attempt to diversify our course offerings on the plant side of plant and floral science. Again, it's a level 2 course, no impact on staffing, and half a credit. This next 2 courses also are a combination, so 2 courses for the same intent. Organizationally, we have restructured our leadership for robotics this school year. So robotics is now falling under the leadership of CTE. Many of our highest performing students are members of our first robotics team. At all 3 high schools, this team is very successful. These teams are very successful, and these teams are growing. But many of our highest performing students are engaging in robotics as an extracurricular activity. and not co-curricular. So science, research, and design would be a part of the computer science program of study and the engineering foundations project Lead the Way program of study, and would incentivize these students to remain in this CTE coherent sequence for their junior level course, for their level 3 course. So a prerequisite which you would have to be in on the first robotics team, but this also would allow the coach an opportunity to help support the development of this team co-curricular during the school day and during a course, and not just extracurricular. The second component of this combination proposal is a CTE project-based capstone. So this is the level 4 course that would complement the level 3 course that I just described. This would enable students to develop and enhance skills while investigating real-world problems. This also would be offered in computer science as well as Project Lead the Way. It'd be 1 full credit, and it would be weighted as well to incentivize these students who are participating in FIRST Robotics to complete their program of study. This next course is it complements the last 2 years of course proposals that you've seen. 4 years ago, our electrical technology program offered at Creekside Lone Star College was just a senior level course. We offered multiple courses at the senior level, and we had about 12 students that were participating in the course. Over the last 2 years, we've built the course offerings for this and now have courses at level 3 as well as level 4. So this proposal is to also now include a level 2 course for electrical training to build a full program of study in this area. This program now has 42 students. And what you'll hear in the special meeting this evening is we are also believe that we will be able to relocate this program from Lone Star Creekside to Warehouse 6 at the Innovation Center beginning next year. This course would be offered at both of the comprehensive high schools and would begin to engage students that are interested in electrical training much earlier than just their junior level. Chinese Mandarin was an approved course when we were first proposing the Academy as a part of BJ services. Mandarin 1 and Mandarin 2 Chinese were approved at that time, around 2020, but of course we did not implement those courses. Right now, our highest scoring advanced placement LOTE tests are in the area of Chinese in the area of the Chinese language, yet we do not offer the courses. So Chinese 3 and Chinese 4 would help complement the 2 courses that are already in our catalog to offer a full offering for Chinese. German 5 would be a new offering, an advanced placement course. Currently we have students that are completing German 4, our highest level, at their junior year and do not have an offering to help complement their acquisition of biliteracy in the area of German. High school fine arts, this proposal also is very similar to the rationale of the extracurricular robotics. Many of our students that are in musical theater participate in the program as an extracurricular activity. We offer a musical theater performance every other year. So this course proposal would offer musical theater 1, 2, 3, and 4 by audition only. When you audition, for example, if you were to audition for Theater 1, you would be automatically enrolled, if you choose, in Theater 2, Theater 3, and Musical Theater 4. It would not be an audition every year. Much like band, this would also satisfy a physical education course, and again explores the foundational and advanced techniques in acting and singing in a co-curricular way, and not just extracurricular for musical theater. Our final proposal for this evening is environmental science, dual credit. Currently, we've had environmental science advanced placement since 2021, advanced course, but this gives a pathway for students that are seeking dual credit for a similar course. This would offer 8 college credits because it's the course plus the lab for each semester, 4 credits per semester, 8 overall for the year. So again, very much like our current course that we have on the books for AP. It would allow students to engage in rigorous inquiry-based instruction that are aligned with the TEKS. The one course removal would be a low enrollment course, crafts, in the area of art. We are proposing to remove this course. Are there any questions on the high school course catalog?
Mr. McStraven.
So Michael, talking about the environmental science course, this will be the DC offering. I know in the past we've co-seated students DC AP. Do you anticipate this course would be co-seated, or do you anticipate these would be completely separate courses?
I anticipate completely separate because we have near 300 students currently in AP Environmental Science. I think there's a sufficient number of students that likely would select the dual credit. We wouldn't have to co-seat.
Okay. Going back to the level 3 and level 4 for robotics. So PLW already has a level 3 and level 4 components, correct?
Correct.
So this would just be providing a robotics aspect to that level 3 and level 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the level 3 was a half credit and the level 4 is a
I believe so. Carla, can you help me with Project Lead the Way?
They were both one? Okay, I guess I saw a half credit on the level 3. Scientific research and design on my form shows a 0.5 weighted. Yeah, 0.5. It's 1. Okay.
And the kids get a sign, it counts as a 4-year science credit.
Okay. The third level counts as a.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. The last question, Michael, really had to deal with the fees. So I don't know. Do you want to talk about that? You want to field the rest of the questions and then talk about fees later? Or you want me to ask you a question now?
You can ask the question now.
Okay. So bottom line, what I really want to know is, I see these minimal step-ups in these different areas. What I want to know is, do we have grants or other options in place for students that may not be able to handle these fees for whatever reason?
We don't have any grants in place, but we would work to make sure that no student is excluded from a course without being able to pay a $25 fee. The increases for drug testing that you see in there, the increases for official fees that you see in there for athletics, or the increases that you see for the art supplies, we're not going to let $25 prevent a student from taking a course. We do that right now with dual credit fees. We will find a way to make sure that student is able to take that course.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
really important. So let's make sure that we continue that mindset.
Absolutely. That's important to us as well. Good question, though.
That's it.
Ms. Grecky.
On German 5, how are our kids taking German 5? Do we offer German 1 in 8th grade?
No, we do not offer German in the 8th grade, but we have students, unlike the other courses, other course sequences, you could test into a higher level language because of your proficiency in that language, whether that's your home language, like Mark spoke about. We have students that, for example, for Mandarin, we have students that probably could enter Spanish or enter Mandarin 4 right now without taking 1 through 3. Same thing at German. So we do not have German at the junior high level, but we have students that are, through credit by exam, are able to accelerate through the curriculum. But right now we have 8 students that are not going to be able to place next year because they are already ready for Spanish 5.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
German.
Have we ever, would it be possible, and have we ever considered offering the first-year language courses pass-fail for languages other than Spanish to be equitable for high-achieving students who choose to take languages other than Spanish?
All things are possible. I think when we look at course offerings, we also look at our ability to staff the course, the availability of teachers, and then the student interest. The high student interest at the junior high level for German has not come to the secondary advisory committee, but we do lean on our teachers, our campus leaders to bring these type of topics to the secondary advisory, and if they do, it will be fully considered.
Or even, I don't even know if it'd be possible to offer it 2 ninth graders in the high school as a pass, so that, do you understand my line of questioning? Is we have a lot of students who are taking Spanish 1 in 8th grade, and it's pass-fail, and it doesn't go into their GPA.
Right.
Whereas students who choose other languages have to take the grade, a non-rigor point grade into their GPA. So it's a disadvantage to choose other languages other than Spanish.
Yes, unless you were, but again, that Spanish 2 would have to coincide also with 7 years of dual language enrollment. So there is extra criteria. It's not just signing up for the course and taking it.
I'm talking non-dual language students. So a lot of students are taking Spanish 1 in 8th grade. It's pushed heavily in the junior highs, and I don't think families even are aware that we offer other languages. And so they're choosing to take Spanish 1 in 8th grade, and it's just pass-fail. They don't have to have the grade in their GPA. That's all I'm pointing out.
Yeah.
What is our policy on pass-fail, though? I mean, I know it wouldn't necessarily change, right? Because you can burn up your two pass-fails.
No, it's level 3 and level 4 only at this point.
Okay, but so that's level 3 and level 4, the ones where a student can use their pass-fail.
Yeah, you often see that in CTE, fine arts, athletics.
Okay, and they get 2 credits that they can do that with?
Correct.
Okay, but it wouldn't apply for Spanish 1? Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know if that would be possible. Do you see what I'm saying? My point that I'm making, though. Yeah.
I have one. So turf, grass management, didn't really see that one coming. Landscape, totally get. But I have a challenge for you. While I support this course,
Okay, challenge accepted.
I would like some bonus work for us to evaluate the grass around our campuses,
Okay.
because we're going the other direction. We're replacing grass with artificial turf. So there are some campuses where we got a lot of dirt and we can't grow grass. So I don't know if there's a challenge here, or how would we leverage this
Something
internally?
we can certainly look at.
Yeah.
You are right. In some areas, it is more cost prohibitive or better to, or rather advantage to go ahead and put turf, but we have many with grass.
Okay.
All of our elementaries.
Let's make turf great again. Let's make grass great again.
Challenge accepted. We
Okay.
will look at that, Dr. Webb.
Thank you.
Put that on the
Got it.
syllabus. Right. Any other questions, comments, or thoughts? Seeing none, thank you so much, Dr. Webb. Appreciate that. That's always exciting every year to see what's coming. I love that. I know a lot of work goes into that, so thank you to the teams that made that happen. Dr. Webb makes it look easy, but it's a lot of work. Next, we have the 2024-25 Annual Financial Report. Our Chief Financial Officer, Zach Bowles, will introduce our guest.
All right, well, good evening, President Dr. Pratt, Dr. Salazar Zamora, members of the board. As required and in accordance with Texas Education Code, Tomball ISD is required to undergo an annual financial audit, and that financial audit be performed by an independent certified public accounting firm. And so here with me tonight, I have Mr. Greg Peterson. He's our audit partner with Weaver and Tidwell, who are our independent certified public auditors, and he's going to present the results of their audit. But for me, I'd like to go into a little bit about the financial operations of and outcomes of the financial year. And so one more piece I want to hit on here before we move forward. In addition to having the audit done, the board is required to approve the audit and then submit that audit to the Texas Education Agency no later than 150 days after the close of the fiscal year. However, if you've noticed on the agenda for tomorrow night, there is no audit report on the agenda for approval. And so the reasoning behind that stems a little bit from some federal compliance that has not yet been released. They were a little bit behind on that timeline leading up to the government shutdown, and that's just sort of exacerbated it a little bit. So guidance came out, and the guidance for auditors was that we don't finalize the audit reports with the federal single audit until that guidance is released. And so what TEA has done is they've extended the deadline for submission of the audit reports to TEA until February of 2026. So typically, we would be required to submit the approved audit report to TEA by the end of November. And so now we've got an extension. So what we're waiting on right now is you have a draft report in front of you. The discussion is going to be on that report. But in general, that report is complete. We're just waiting on the final guidance to be released from the government so that we can truly approve the audit report. So in that hard copy that you have, if you want to follow along there, you can turn to page 24. And what that's going to take you to is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances. And so that document or that exhibit and statement is going to detail the revenues and expenditures, the activities for all three of our major funds. That's the general fund, our debt service fund, and our capital projects fund. But we also have a number of non-major funds, 25 of them to be exact. That includes child nutrition, our campus activity funds, and a number of local, state, and federal grants that we manage. It would take quite a while to go through all of that, and I was told a three-hour presentation was not on the table for tonight. So we're going to stick to the general fund when we talk about the operations of the district. And if you think back to June of 2024, the board as a whole adopted a $9 million deficit budget. And if you've already skipped ahead to the bottom of your page or the bottom of the screen, you'll see that our actuals ended up with a deficit of only $1.1 million. And so I promise I'll go into a little bit more detail about what made that happen. But I want to start back looking at the revenues for the district before we get into that. So from a revenue standpoint, we generated just over $233.5 million in total revenues, with 53.5% of that being tied to local revenues from either property taxes, interest income, extracurricular activities. That makes up the majority of our total revenues that we generated for the year. But coming in a very close second and almost at just over 45% is state revenue. And so what we've seen there over time is a steady increase in the funding responsibility that's been shifted from the local taxpayer to the state. And so that has to do with and has been triggered and really pushed by property tax legislation that's been passed since 2019. And so we've gradually seen the state pick up additional funding responsibility. They've been gradually closing in on 50%. And we expect that to continue, because just this past week, voters approved a constitutional amendment to increase the homestead exemption up to $140,000 and an additional $60,000 for those individuals that are over 65 or disabled. So again, another significant increase in the homestead exemption. And on the flip side of that, the state has some responsibility there to hold us harmless for the funding that's lost due to that. So we expect there to be some additional increases in the state revenue portion of this as we move forward into the next year. And to sort of show you what, or tell you what a impact that increase in the homestead exemption has been, working with our tax assessor, Cindy, we've gone through and identified of the homeowners that have a homestead exemption, 23% of those individuals now no longer pay property tax to Tomball ISD. So it is a significant impact what the state's been done since 2019, but they've also had the burden of picking up that additional funding as well. Very minimal. We do have federal revenue that makes up less than 1% of total revenues that we bring in. And basically what that's relating to is our indirect costs for management of our federal programs and grants that we oversee. From an expenditure standpoint, if you're looking at your page in the hard copy, obviously there's a lot more detail there. I couldn't include all of that in the slide here on the screen, but what we do is we take and on the screen you'll see that that is grouped into functional categories. The board adopts a budget by function, and so we also report expenditures by function. But when you look at the total expenditures of the district, we were just over $232 million. We had $149.4 million of that tied directly to instruction and instruction-related services. And when you take that into consideration as a percentage of the total expenditures, that represented 64.4% of total expenditures. So that's right at our target. We try to target around 65% is focused on instruction when we look at our total budget. And then our largest additional expenditure occurs in our function 50s, which are our support services, which are non-student based, and that's going to focus around maintenance, safety and security, custodial services, and that's where the additional largest portion of our expenditures come from. When we take into consideration the other financing uses, what that represents is property tax litigated refunds. So those might be refunds that are required to be paid out for prior years that we've already collected funding on. It's not something we're anticipating. It's not something we can really project and incorporate into the budget. So that's why it's listed down lower in other financing uses. But just over $2.5 million related to property tax refunds that we had to pay out, which ultimately left us with that $1.1 million deficit. Looking a little bit more in depth at the expenditure side of things, again, 64.4% tied to instructional related expenditures. And then campus administration, a little over 7%, 11.13% for student support. That's going to include transportation, counseling, health services, extracurricular activities. The 3.4% you see there for general administration, that is your function 41, but that's related to administration like finance, human talent department, administrative services, the administration in Dr. Z's office. So administration for the entire district is 3.4% of total expenditures. And then again, our larger category there for non-student support for transportation, or not for transportation, the maintenance, custodial, and safety and security. Looking a little bit differently at expenditures, we'd like to take a look at what are called object codes. And so this is really telling you what did you get for every dollar that you spent. For us and for most districts across the state, I say all districts across the state, payroll is the largest expenditure of dollars in our budget. So just under 87% of total expenditures went directly to payroll. That's base salaries, that's insurance, that's benefits, that's TRS costs, as well as sub costs, extra duty costs. That's anything related to payroll is going to be incorporated there. Contracted services at 7.3%, that's our next largest category of expenditures, and that's going to include contracts for services like our SRO program. It's utilities. Those things are going to make up a large portion there as well. And then from a supplies, other operating expenditures like student and staff travel, our debt service related to copier contracts, and then capital outlay represents the last about 6% of total expenditures. So when you get down to those final four, it's very small. And this is why we always talk about when we get into budgeting, payroll is a primary focus because it's the largest percentage of expenditures that we have. So I mentioned going from a $9 million deficit down to 1.1. So a number of factors contributed to that. So you've got some ins and outs that occurred in your expenditures and revenues as far as things that may have been unanticipated throughout the year. But basically, when you boil it down to it, we started the year with a $9 million deficit that was adopted by the board. We saw some increases in payroll costs related to TRS on behalf expenditures, Medicare Part D on behalf expenditures that we're required to book. And then we had the teacher incentive allotment payouts. The teacher incentive allotment by itself represents about $3.9 million. And the reason why you see that as an add in both increasing the expenditures but also increasing revenues is that we adopt that budget separately so that we can track it separately when it comes to TEA reporting. The general fund that you adopt as a board eventually will come back and request the board to approve a completely separate budget for TIA. It all rolls together when you're reporting the general fund back to TEA. So in a whole, when you bring everything back, they offset and add to expenditures and revenues. And then we talked about the litigated tax refunds that we're required to have there. The property value audits, we work closely with Purdue. You'll hear from them a little bit about our delinquent property taxes, but we work with their firm to audit our property values annually. And so we go through that process to ensure that the state is calculating our state funding correctly based on what we actually are collecting property taxes on. So throughout the year, you'll have tweaks and changes based on protests, or you have different changes coming, recalculations coming from the appraisal districts. And so we want to make sure that the state's calculating all of that into their funding formulas. And so what we were able to generate there through the property value audit of actually 22-23 fiscal year and tax year, we generated $3.7 million. That's not something that we've typically incorporated into our budgeting process when we talk about revenues because it's a little bit of, it's an unknown. We don't know exactly what and when we're going to get that funding. And so we have not incorporated that into the budget in the past. We did in the budget for the 25-26 fiscal year. Because that number had grown over time, we felt comfortable incorporating an anticipated amount that was working off of a 5-year rolling average. And then the bigger thing there also includes interest income. We anticipated quite a few cuts. That was at the time we adopted the budget. The anticipation was that the Federal Reserve was going to start decreasing interest rates. That they made 1 or 2 right at the beginning, and then they held for the entire year. And so we saw a significant amount of interest income above what was anticipated when we originally adopted the budget. You do have the TIA payouts as the offset to the expenditures, and then we also saw an increase in the per capita rate that the state utilizes for the available school fund, which occurred after we had adopted our budget in June of 2024. We will do a full, more comprehensive fund balance review in January, but did want to touch base on this because this is board policy, is the requirement that we maintain assigned and unassigned fund balances of 3 months or 25% of the operating expenditures of the current year's budget. So where we want to make sure we end the year in fund balance is above 25% of the 25-26 fiscal year operating expenditures. And so when we take a look at the fund balance, even after the $1.1 million deficit, we are at 34.4% of the 25-26 operating budget in our assigned and unassigned fund balances. Part of that has to do with the fact that we released $16 million from committed fund balances during the course of the last fiscal year. We had originally set aside $36 million in committed fund balances for construction. That was related to Bond 2021. At the time, we had experienced a significant amount of inflation across the board, whether that was costs related to supplies and materials for the classroom, but also very significantly inflation costs related to construction as well, right after we had passed Bond 2021. So we set aside $36 million in committed fund balances to, in the event that we may need it. We've since been able to release $16 million of that. We're continuing to hold $20 million in the committed fund balances with the anticipation that we'll be able to continue to release more of that as we complete the final Bond 2021 projects. But before I turn it over to Greg, are there any questions on the financial operations of the district.
I'd just like to say great work to Dr. Z and your team for reducing what was a deficit budget of $9 million
Correct.
down to 1.1. And I know, at times, it makes sense to be conservative,
Correct.
but you also are demonstrating, great financial management practices to basically take out, $8 million in costs. And so I'm appreciative. I know our taxpayers are appreciative, so great job.
Thank you, Dr. Pratt. Although I appreciate that, the credit goes to our Chief Financial Officer, the team members that are here, Becky Felder, and everybody on the team, Claudia Munoz, the list could go on and on, that work through that to ensure that this happens. I think it's important to mention, considering that kind of, you said the dollar amount, right? Going from 9 point plus down to 1.1 million, all the while never sacrificing student achievement, continuing to be a leader in student performance as the only A-rated school district in both Harris and Montgomery counties. So thank you, Zach, to you and your team. Next.
All right. Well, thank you, Zach. Thank you, members of the board. My name is Greg Peterson, the audit partner on the engagement, and it is my pleasure to present the results of our audit. Also want to thank the audit committee, and I promise this will be the abridged version of what you received earlier. So the whole purpose for the audit is for the auditor to come in and render an opinion on the financial statements. These financial statements are meant to be materially correct and to be used by those in charge of governance to make informed decisions. So the opinion that we are rendering is an unmodified opinion, also known as a clean opinion. So that's the highest level of assurance that you can receive in an audit. We conducted our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards. Part of the audit goes beyond just looking at the numbers. We do also evaluate the district's internal controls, specifically related to payroll expenditures and other cash disbursements. Through that process, we did not identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in those internal controls. I do want to point out that our auditor's report will have an emphasis of matter paragraph just related to the implementation of a new accounting standard that occurred during the fiscal year related to some compensated absences. Again, we did evaluate the district's internal controls. Again, no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. We also did not identify any non-compliance with any state laws or regulations. As Zach mentioned, as part of our audit, we also test our expenditures of federal programs and grants. As he mentioned, this part of our report is presented as a draft. Once the government comes back online and the Office of Management and Budget is able to complete the 25 compliance supplement, we will then be able to issue our final report on the single audit. We went ahead, they did issue a draft, so we went ahead and performed our audit procedures using the draft. And once that is released, we'll be able to turn the single audit report around very quickly. But I would like to go ahead and let you know that we did not identify any non-compliance or any control deficiencies over those compliance controls through the testing that we've performed. Again, the draft does cover a lot of these major programs. The program that we selected was Special Ed IDEA-B. That's a long-standing program. I can't foresee them making any radical changes for compliance testing from the draft to the final version. Again, as governance, as a board, I think, the key takeaways that you want to hear are the unmodified opinions across the board. The fact that there were no material weaknesses in internal controls or significant deficiencies. As was mentioned previously, Zach, Becky, the whole department just does a great job. It's very comforting as an auditor to know that you can go ask a question and you'll get an answer promptly and correctly. So kudos to the team and happy to answer any questions that you may have.
And I'd just like to say, Board, the Audit Committee did have an opportunity to visit with Weaver earlier without the presence of district administration and ensure that the audit is truly independent, and that was our discussion.
I would just like to add a comment that the district has had for years a very sound history of fiscal responsibility. Thank you, Jim Ross, for starting that trajectory and laying that foundation. And of course, Zach has just continued with some real huge challenges in school finance, and he doesn't blink an eye, quietly just says, okay, we'll get it done. And he does. I appreciate you.
Let me just chime in on that note a little bit. You know, there's certain things that, you know, maybe it's fortuitous, right? You get additional per capita from the state, or we get, you know, a little bit less on the tax refunds. But the interest income, positioning ourselves to be able to take advantage of the interest income, following what's going on in the financial world to make sure that we are positioned correctly, and working hard on the property value audit where we can make a difference. If we just let it go, we're not going to be able to have any of those additional funds. So yes, there are some places where we're getting income that we may not have expected, some revenue. Y'all have worked extremely hard, and we've talked about this over and over on the expense side. But I think those areas where we can make a difference, Zach and team does make a difference, and that's what's important. Is we're not just looking at expenses. So, thank you.
And to John's point, when we passed that $9 million deficit budget, they thought that they would be able to cut it in half.
Yeah.
To around $4 or $5 million deficit, and they went above and beyond and cut it to a $1 million. So, I mean, they exceeded expectations greatly.
Oh, wow, that's twice.
I like that. Sounding like an evaluation. Just kidding. Any other comments, concerns, questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Our final report for the evening is delinquent tax report. Again, Zach Bowles, our Chief Financial Officer. I believe Becky Felder?
It's me.
Okay, Zach, okay, just checking.
And actually, it won't be me. I'm going to turn it right over to Mike because I don't want to attempt
Okay.
to present
To do
this
that.
one.
Okay, Mike Darlow, a friend of the district from many, many years.
Many years. I go back when Jerry Johnson was the chief financial officer before Jim.
I don't even know him, but
I know,
okay.
but
That was many years. We only know Jim here now.
the history of great CFOs just continues. And Zach's doing a fantastic job. Well, Mike Darlow with Purdue Brandon. I have with me Hayden Bartley, who works on your account and also is a resident of the district. And as soon as his kids are older enough, I'm sure they'll be going to school in Tomball. And we're always looking for kids for school, right? So a couple on the way. Anyway, we appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, give you a quick update. Leslie Scotty, who you know would normally be here tonight but had a prior commitment, so she sent the old man to come and give a report. So I appreciate the time to visit with you all tonight. As I probably say, let's see if I can figure out how to move this. Each year when I come to give this report, that, you know, steady as she goes. You're levying taxes every year. You're collecting over 98% of your taxes every year. We're dealing with the last couple of percent. We work very hard to turn those dollars in as quick as possible for the district. We work very closely with Cindy and her staff to make sure that we're taking care of all the needs of the district and collecting your delinquent taxes as quickly, as efficiently that we can. You'll see on this first chart here that over the last several years, from 2019 through 2024, how the amount that's been turned over to the district sort of peaked in 2022 and sort of come back down. This past July, we were turned over $3.3 million to collect. You've had considerable growth each and every year. So proportionately, the percentages are staying strong. Again, over 98% collection when we take over as of July 1 each cycle. So that lets me know that things are moving in the right direction. I'm going to skip through a couple of these just in the essence of time, and let's see if I can get it right here. It's being a little persnickety for me. I think Zach did something to this. Oh, you can use the keyboard. Okay, there you go. See, I'm a lawyer, not a tech guy. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, perfect. Okay. So when we prepared this for you at the end of August, you can see there was $4.8 million of delinquent taxes. The bulk of that is 2024. Again, we started working on that back in July. That's to be expected. So a little over 52% of the money that was owed to the district back then is for the 23 and 24 tax cycle. That's what we're always trying to strive at, that the bulk of the money is newer. The newer the delinquency, the more collectible it is. There's been a lot of activity that's gone on in the last several months. This next chart gives you a sense of the money that's owed, how is it broken down, what are the primary categories that we're working on trying to collect the money out of. So you'll see the largest single category is our litigation. So when the phone calls, emails, other forms of contact don't work, we do have to file lots of lawsuits, both in Harris and Montgomery County. Many of those get resolved or paid through the process. Sometimes we do have to go to tax sale, and I always invite you to go to our website at pbfcm.com/tax sales, and you can see the properties that we have for sale. Not every month do we have property in Tomball. Back in October, we did have a piece that was scheduled for sale, and fortunately it was paid, so we didn't have to sell it. This month, last week, we did not have any for Tomball. But we do regularly have properties that will go up for sale, the majority of which, of course, will get paid before or sold at the tax sale. A couple others I'll point out for you. Our deferrals. As you know, and Zach sort of mentioned it when he was giving his report about over 65 and the constitutional amendment that came in to increase the homestead exemption and also for deferrals or over 65s. You'll see that almost $1 million of the money that's owed involves properties that the people have taken advantage of that law, and the taxes that they owe are deferred. They're paying at a lower interest rate, and we won't be able to work on those until those people sell the property or pass away, and then there's some procedures and timeframes that have to go through before we're able to move forward and collect that. And the last one I'll point out to you is our action pending. These are accounts that we've reached out to, and the next step, if they don't follow through with their commitment to pay, is we'll be filing lawsuits on those. So as I move along, I want to comment about one thing relative to the another constitutional amendment. And I'm skipping through all this, and I can go back to any of these, but I know John's read all this report. He's seen all these every year I come and give it, and so he's good with me moving along. Is the constitutional amendment to exempt up to $125,000 of value for personal property. So while on the one hand, while the state on the homestead exemption will hold you harmless and give you the money back, there is no hold harmless for this other increase in the exemption for business personal property. I cannot tell you today what that means dollar-wise for you. In a global sense, the district levies has about $1 billion of value on personal property. So it's shops, equipment, inventory. So every business, just go up and down the street, that you see that a small business owner will probably not owe you a property tax beginning with the 2026 tax year. So we're going to have to work through that and see what the dollars are. And as Zach and his team work on budgeting, we'll expect the appraisal district to give us some more hardcore numbers to help determine what adjustment that's going to mean for the district and how you're going to have to make that up. And this is affecting everybody, of course, in the state, all taxing entities, not just school districts that are going to have to deal with this. But in the meantime, that's for the next year. For the meantime, we just finished the 23 cycle back in June. When I was here last year, I was telling you what we were doing to collect that. And when we finished that year, we collected almost 75% of the $3.6 million that was turned over to us. And through September of this year, we've gotten almost 79%. And then for 2024, which again, we began back July 1 of 25, through September, we've already collected 41% of that. So a good, strong beginning to the cycle. Our goal every year is to get 70% of the first year collected for you, and so I think we're on track for that. Then finally, we've given you our top 20 report. I need to point out that on item number 1, last year there were some other accounts that HP owed us, and we were able to finally get that paid. Subsequent to preparing this report for tonight, we learned that this particular account is actually involved in litigation with the appraisal district, so it's off limits for us to work on right now until that litigation gets resolved. So I wanted to point that out since it is the, quote, theoretically the largest delinquent account that we have on the roll. And I would just point out a couple of others for you here. I wanted to mention number 11, which is set for tax sale in December. So probably next week we'll have all our postings on our website for our December tax sales, and you'll be able to see some more detail on that particular property. And then on item number 17, it's a property in Montgomery County. Again, we just recently took a judgment, and if we're unable to get the property owner to pay, we'll have to have that posted for sale. At this point, it probably would not be until February of 26. We tend not to have tax sales in January, right around the beginning of the new year. People have generally spent their money on Christmas gifts and gifts for their lawyers. So, got to drop a little humor in there. Anyway, that's my report. I'm happy to answer any questions, go into any more details that you have on anything that we're doing on behalf of the district.
Any questions, comments, or thoughts?
I think we're good, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you
all
so
very
much.
much.
Appreciate
it.
Continue.
Zach, I'll let you close this down.
Okay, moving on. I would like to review the business agenda for November 11th, 2025 for tomorrow evening and have a conversation with you about items that we have. The first will be a report. We did move this report from this evening to tomorrow because it's the district zone reset, and we will have Rocky from Templeton, formerly Templeton, now Zonda. Demographics come. Rocky's been a friend of the district and has done this for many years. Many of you know him. Some of you have met him recently and will get to know him better. We're excited to have him come. We were happy to adjust that to ensure that we had him here to discuss that report. Under consent agenda, you will see 2 donations, one in the amount of $8,294.10 to Creekview, and the other one for $28,000 to Creekside Park Junior High. Both are the PTOs. We have a few items for considered agenda. Okay, first item. Approve the purchase and installation of impact-resistant film for instructional facilities from Entry Shield in the amount not to exceed $337,429. I want to remind the board that this is using the Safety and Facilities Enhancement Grant. A continued thank you to Stephen, to Stephanie, to Steve, and Nadia, everyone on the team that tries to find ways in which we can do what is requested or may be required in the future based on additional grant dollars. There's a lot of specificity on how we can use these dollars. I wish it were easier, but I am grateful that it doesn't come out of district dollars. Mr. McStravick.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for the follow-up on the explanation.
Absolutely.
With Entry Shield. So I better understand how the quote was based on maybe multiple trips to the district.
Yes, sir.
So thank you.
The next 2 items, B and C, are complementary, and they're both asking for you to approve amendments to one, the high school, and the next, the junior high course selection catalogs based on the reports that you had tonight and any questions that you were able to ask and have answered. Item D is to approve the recommendation to select Dianco Incorporated under the RFP as listed as a general contractor to complete the Harris County Flood Control Channel Extension at the West Complex for the amount of $4,061,130 with a total construction budget of $4,500,000 using bond 2021 funds. And I'm going to ask Zach to give us a little more insight into that, because that's a lot of money based on requirements that we don't have a choice. We must do this.
And if we have a map, that would be value add as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. Again, just to start off as he's getting there, this is a requirement. It's not, do we want to? It's a have to. Very expensive have to. Like streetlights and other things. Yeah, development of property, exactly. Okay, thank you, Zach. Yes, absolutely. I wish I could move it. I'd probably end up disconnecting it.
All right, so I also have the experts in the room tonight. I've got Jim and Robert here to answer the questions a little bit more technically. But essentially what we have and what we're required to do by Harris County is to basically improve the drainage of the West Complex down to Little Cypress Creek. And that involves the building of the flood control channel. And so what you're looking at on this picture, I don't think anybody's going to be able to see my mouse here, but you see Muskie Road across the top of the image, and then where you can see the dirt work going down on the imagery there. That is the entrance leading off of Muskie to the West Complex. So coming up to West High School, down at the drop off of the page, it'd be on the next image here. And so that's West High School. And so that sort of gives you a proximity of where we're talking about this drainage being. But essentially this is to improve the flow of water off of the property through our detention ponds, then through this channel extension for Harris County flood control. And so we've had to wait as Harris County acquired the property, but it is a requirement that we, underneath our permit, in order to complete the site at the West Complex, open Tomball West High School, that we have to complete this channel for the county.
So Zach, this L109 segment is to the west and south of the high school location?
That's correct.
Okay. On third-party land that Harris County Flood Control is going to purchase or get an easement?
They have, yes, at this point.
They have?
They have purchased it, yes.
Okay.
Hey, logistics question. How does the water that is running west of Tomball West building get across what I believe is a concrete driveway that you're showing there? Does it go under the concrete?
There's culverts there, but I'm going to let Jim explain that a little bit more.
Hello, Jim Ross.
Hello. We've got large box culverts built underneath that road, Destination Drive, that'll flow that water to the new location. There's if you look at that dirt area there, you'll see some yellow lines in it. There's a head wall there, is what that's called, and then all the water will travel over to that and then go down the channel.
So it's already been built, Jim?
It's already in place.
Okay, so our work is done. We're really just paying for, the $4 million is funding what?
The $4 million is funding the removal of 150 cubic yards of dirt. We've got to build this. This was part of the discussion that happened, and I know it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was looking it up with Robert. 32 months ago, we came to you with this because we were going to have to pay $820,000 impact fee. And that's because we were moving all of our watershed from almost 205 acres. We were moving all our watershed to Little Cypress Creek. It was previously split. Half of it was going to Willow Creek, the other half to Little Cypress Creek. We were going to have to do improvements to both of them, which would have been far more expensive than what we're engaged in now. So this $4 million is for all of that work, and you can see the solid line. That's some embankments there that that are going to be required to be installed, and then the head walls at both ends. But it's a large canal. It's 230 feet wide, and it's 2,880 something feet long.
And,
So
and the
it's-
end point to the far south, Jim, that's the creek?
Little Cypress Creek is
Got
there.
it.
And whenever you see that L109-00-0, that's Little Cypress Creek.
That's it.
We are now connecting with it with this. Part of the deal that we made, you saw all of the, let me see about moving this. Scrolling here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to scroll to the other detention areas to show you what we actually were involved with. And you'll see it in the notes that we provided to you when we were discussing this with Harris County. Okay, we've got 2 large detention ponds behind the elementary and intermediate. Detention pond 1 and 2. The total detention acre foot, and that's how they do this. We needed 229.3 to drain our properties. 229.3 acre feet of drainage. So what we're doing with the detention is we're building up to it. Those 2 ponds are 76.5 acre feet. Then when you go to the next one, you've noticed how long and deep that is. That's because an acre foot, it's a cubic measurement. The best way to really envision that is an acre foot is a football field with 1 foot of water on it. And so we're carrying capacity of water in that stretch that is 76.1 acre feet. We needed to complete this 76.7 more. We're actually building it in the property that Harris County has purchased. Now, they didn't purchase that with their money. That's what the $820,000 impact fee was. We bought it. But it's not ours. It's a right-of-way that they've purchased, but we gave them the impact fee for it. So we've had to build all of this, and there's an explanation in your information that came from HDR that would explain all of this. But this is common. This is what all developers have to do. And Mike Darlow was touching on something a while ago, the $125,000, the exemption that is going for businesses. That's going to hugely impact cities and counties. Right now, every expense they can think of, they put on us, it's going to be more.
Hey, Jim, just to clarify.
Yes.
So everything's moving to the south now to Little Cypress. Nothing's going to go out towards Juergens.
Yes. Not the whole 205 acres. The 175 acres that we developed. We're still holding at the front 30 acres. We were going to have to pay a lot more just to pull that into it.
Okay.
And so it still drains to
Juergens.
to Willow Creek.
Willow Creek?
Yes.
Okay.
What they
So-
were asking us to do was to put in a 36-inch culvert for the entire length of Juergens, both sides of the road, which there's no way we were going to do that, plus take care of this drainage on the other end. So that's why we went with this other route of, we'll pay an impact fee, you get the properties, we'll put in a channel.
So-
And that was decided back in March of '22.
So if and when there's development on the frontage on Juergens, that's going to have to
That's-
separately be deal with detention?
Yes.
Okay. Whether it's us or someone else.
Right.
Hey, Jim, if you don't mind, could you go back to the view with Tomball West and Tomball Intermediate, or West Intermediate and West, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir, that one. What are we doing south of Tomball Intermediate with all that dirt? I've noticed a week or so ago, a lot of dirt work there. What's happening there?
Well, that's where your ag barn
That's
is
the ag
going
barn.
in, and your
Okay.
soccer field.
Got it.
So that's the dirt that's been cut off of that for now.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you, all of the dirt that we're removing, part of the reduction, you saw that we bid this earlier at $4.6 million back in April, and then we pulled that. We had a single bidder, and this one's $4 million for the construction. We are going to spread, part of this bid is to bring all of that dirt that they take out, the 150,000 cubic yards, and bring it to this front 30 acres and spread it across it and slope it out to the road. And so that'll add an extra in height there. That'll bring it up about another 2 feet on the front.
So that's a potential site that we're creating based upon the dirt that we're pulling from other places.
It saved us a lot of money to have a location that was close to move the dirt.
Yeah.
Because the farther away, if they have to find a place and say they had, the only place they could take it's Montgomery County or something, then you've got increased cost with the trucking.
But
So-
won't that also make the property more valuable as
Yeah, it
well?
does.
Because of
It does.
all the elevation requirements? and
If you'll
parking?
watch a developer, they're hauling in dirt by the tons.
Yeah.
And this just happens to all be, we've already done the geotech work. It's select fill.
Good.
This is high dollar dirt, so we're not letting it go. You can ask Robert, I'm very picky about protecting our dirt.
They're not growing dirt anymore, are they?
That high dollar dirt, I've not heard that before.
Hey, Jim, one more question.
Yes, sir.
The view with Destination Drive on it, the long strip there?
There's the start of it in this
Yeah,
one.
the fuller view. Yes.
Yes.
So the the property that is north, just north, the strip there,
Yes.
are we gonna, is there anything we can do along that long run there?
Well, we've got our road that's over to the one side
Yeah.
that you can see.
Yeah.
And you can see the other is drainage. Those are easements for drainage. So they're going to be like channels moving the water through it. And then you can see above, we're feeding from our detention over into this head wall. And then you can see it coming in from the top, another set.
Yeah.
Harris County is going to buy that easement, they said, from us.
Okay.
Because that's the old route. If you look at the tree line that's right there above it, that's where it used to cross.
Yeah.
And so, and you can follow the creek there. So they're moving that in. So that's going to have 2 basins in it that are going to be for just water flow.
Okay.
Then
So
the rest of it will just clean up.
Okay.
And
So it'd be just
dress
an
up.
open green space?
Yes, it
basically?
will.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Continuing our conversation, the next item is to ask for the approval on an increase of $289,962.45 to DLR as part of Service Order Number 2, aligning the final contract for the architectural fees for our Early Excellence Academy with the final accepted construction cost per the contract originally approved back in May of 2022. This contract amount will increase from the initial estimated amount to $1,084,837.45 using Bond 2021 funds. Item F is to approve the purchase of the fire panel replacements at 8 facilities from VSC Fire and Security in the amount of $1,137,000, utilizing purchasing cooperative tips number listed out of Bond 2025 funds. And of course, there was the backup information on these.
So Martha,
Mr. McStraven.
real quick on that. So we've changed the fire panel at Tomball High School
Correct.
recently. So is this the same type of upgrade where everything's talking to one another? This is all bringing
Yes.
everything to on par and communication?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The next item is to approve an amendment to the 25-26 compensation plan for our bus drivers. So I'd like to go over a little bit of information. We appreciate every staff member in the district. As you well know, as board members very well know, we switched to a new stop finder, trans finder for for the assistance of our families to know where their children are, when they get on the bus, when they arrive home. We feel as if that's working smoother. We know it was a bit of a rough start. We've acknowledged that and we've worked on that. During that time, we also were challenged with a bit of a shortage in this area. We were not alone in this. Many districts, all of our surrounding districts and others, from what I understand, are feeling some of the same. What we started to see was an increase in pay. And that's a concern because what happens during a time of challenging financial times is that individuals, rightfully so, will look at, well, can I drive to this other location? Hate to leave this place, but perhaps I can make more money for my family. So currently our drivers make $19.10 an hour. We are proposing to be, I believe, the leaders in the region at $25. Bus driver trainees moving from $18 to $20. This is just during the period that they're getting their CDL. They currently get $18, which was under the $19.10. We'd like to jump that up to $20. And our bus driver subs, and move that up to $22. Everyone along the way. Of course, that's for the entry. That doesn't go into the specifics, but knowing that everyone in transportation would see an increase. Again, valuing all employees of the district, but knowing that we've had some challenges really filling all of the positions and the necessity of increasing our pay. You have seen surrounding districts go up, as I've mentioned, most recently as their last board meetings. And so this is a little bit out of the norm. We don't tend to do this at this time of the year, out of the budget cycle, but this was something we felt I, as superintendent, asked to challenge the team to find a way to make it happen, called Claudia and Zach and said, it's rough out there, and if we don't get this to where it needs to be, I'm afraid we're going to lose more quality staff people. I think this jump, if approved by the board tomorrow night, of course, if you all see to that, or a majority of you, then I think that this will not only help us keep the people, it's a retention, but also a recruitment tool. Any questions? Okay.
Martha?
Yes, sir.
Your average bus driver shortage is running, what, 13 to 15?
A little higher than that, a little bit higher than that, but yes, sir. We've had illnesses, obviously the flu and the other things, and then we've had some with family members or themselves having some pretty serious health issues.
Got it. Well, we're focusing on the hourly pay here. My ask is that you take a look at ensuring that we've got the right staff members answering the phone.
Yes.
As well as responding to email, and then maybe even offer some technical support with the Stop Finder app. So I feel like this is a scalpel to address the bus drivers, but I'd ask you to take a look at the organization and say, do we have the right organization? I think this will free up folks that in the district office that have been driving buses.
Correct.
That will allow them to have bandwidth to maybe address some of those.
Right.
But that would also be what I'd ask you to take a look at.
Absolutely, and we have looked into it. We need to address it as we've been ongoing, but this, I think, will alleviate, as you've said, people doing multiple jobs, trying to just provide the best service that we can when perhaps somebody has to call out and they have multiple routes. So thank you for your patience. It is not common that we have so many emails at one time around one subject. It is not something that I pride myself on, and so I am grateful for perhaps this opportunity if you so choose tomorrow evening.
Hey, Martha, so help me out. There is a minimum amount of a raise for existing drivers.
Correct.
So that everyone will be receiving at least 25.
That 25 is the starting. Now, the incremental changes from there depend on number of years. There's a formula.
But I mean, everyone will be making at least 25.
Yes, sir.
of the
Well,
existing.
if they are full-time, if they're
Yes.
in training, it's 20. If they're a sub, it's 22. Yes,
Right.
sir.
So
Every
full-time,
full-time driver will get a minimum of $25.
Right, and then the schedule will work it from there as
Yes,
far
sir.
as, okay.
Yes, sir.
The effectivity date, sorry, I didn't ask this question. The effectivity date, if the board approves this, would be when?
Right after?
November 15th.
15th. Correct. But it would go into effect November 15th. Thank you for that. Okay. And the final item, unfortunately, I feel like I always start with that word, but As an educator, I don't like this, but I also feel that we have to be fair to everybody in the process as we have in the past. So it's recommended that the Board of Education render a finding under Texas Administrative Code Section 24914 that good cause did not exist as required by Texas Education Code sections listed for the following educator, Jessica Rivera, to resign her employment contract. That concludes the meeting for tomorrow evening. I will turn the meeting back over to Dr. Pratt, our president.
Great, thank you, Dr. Z. Appreciate the solid presentations and the great work that the team has done to help us with some of the agenda items that we'll be voting on tomorrow night. Board, we will not be moving into closed session, and we do not have anyone that has signed up for non-agenda items either. And so prior to concluding and stepping into a special meeting, I'd like to extend the opportunity for any of my board members to, fellow board members to make comments.
Well, as we're in the Thanksgiving season, just, we won't see you all before the Thanksgiving break, but to have a very enjoyable break and a great Thanksgiving season with your families and friends.
Dr. Z, something landed at my desk here, and it's a Houston Chronicle publish listing the city's top places to work, participating firms with 500 employees or more, and it says, congratulations, Tomball ISD is a 2025 Houston Top Workplaces winner.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I think the members of Team Tomball already knew this, but it sure is nice to see the Houston Chronicle recognizing it.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Job, team.
Wonderful. Will we add that to our website to make sure that?
I think Dr.
Okay.
Wright already has.
Okay, great.
He definitely has the team. Allison and Justin were working on that.
And I assume when we have job fairs, that will be a prominent display as well?
Absolutely. I think there's a pop-up that he's already created.
Okay. Great.
I don't know how that appeared on your,
That was strategic for sure.
may have been.
If no other board members have comments, I would seek a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Lewandowski, seconded by Mrs. Salem. At this time, all members in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. 7:47 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.
Looked like you've done that before, Jim.